The business school, and our goal is to make sure that our students understand the relationship between wealth creation, job creation. So it's different because we also have mentors that participate in the class. We want to thank the deans of the colleges, Dean Fenders, for example, is he here? Dean, are you here? Thank you very much from engineering. Tom Gilligan from the business school, President, University of Texas, and more importantly, the Lost Dogs. This is the first event that is a partnership between the academic departments and the athletic department. So if you look behind you, you don't see Colt McCoy throwing a touchdown pass. You don't see Earl Campbell running for the Heisman Trophy. What you see is the basis of wealth creation at the University of Texas at Austin. I'm going to ask Josh to come up to take us through the evening. Josh is also, of course, one of the professors involved. So let's welcome Josh Baer to One Semester Startup.
Thank you, sir. All right, thank you, John Butler. Here's what we have in store for you today. So first, we're going to have pitches from 10 of the startups from our class that we're going to go through. Those are all going to go rapid fire in alphabetical order. There'll be no Q&A between them. Just as soon as each one's ready, a slide will come up with their name on it where it says welcome there. And they'll come up, grab the mic. You want to stand right here under this spotlight right above us. You don't want to stand in front of the projector. And you'll generally get your talk right here. Any members of your team should come up and stand to the side of the screen so that people can see them as well. If you're, it's alphabetical order, so that's how you know when you're coming up next. If you're up next, you want to go over to the side over here to get mic'd. There'll be an individual lapel mic for each person that's presenting. And if you have two presenters, the second one's going to grab this microphone that I'm holding. There's also a clicker. The clicker, don't steal the clicker. The clicker goes here when you're done. And yeah, please don't run away with it. Okay, so after the first 10, we're going to have a halftime show. Halftime show is going to be Bob Metcalf, our third esteemed professor. And to start off with, in addition to some of his other comments, he's going to give us his pitch for 3Com from 1980. So that should be a great entertainment for us. See if any of you guys want to invest. And after that, we've got 10 more student teams pitching, and then plenty of time to schmooze and hang out here after and enjoy our beautiful view of the Jumbotron. So, we have a bunch of people to thank tonight. John Butler already hit on a few of them. First of all, a number of sponsors came together to support us, go through the whole class, and in particular to bring this tonight to this incredible place with the Jumbotron. The Murchison Chair of Free Enterprise, which in addition to helping support us tonight, helped bring Bob Metcalf here, and he holds that title. The Kauffman Foundation, which is really the premier philanthropy that supports entrepreneurs all around the world in many, many different ways, and supports what we're doing here tonight. And Capital Factory, which is an early stage accelerator here in Austin, and in a small way was some of the inspiration for the class and some of the things that we do here today. Also, we've had really generous support from Austin Ventures, S3 Ventures, G51 Capital, the Center for Lifelong Engineering Education at the Cockrell School of Engineering, and many others. Our class meets once a week for 3 hours on Thursday nights from 6 to 9 p.m., which is kind of a tough time to meet. It works for my schedule, but obviously we get a lot of hungry students. So we've also been very, very, very thankful that we've had Austin Ventures, Silverton Partners, Capital Factory, Bizarre Boys, HomeAway, Other Inbox, and Spiceworks all magically make pizza appear when we showed up to class, and that makes it a lot easier to sit through. So we really appreciate that. So I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for one person in particular, and that's Bruce Porter. So we really appreciate his help. Bruce was the original champion of this class, and in addition to helping us get started, has just been invaluable throughout the process of supporting us and making it all come together, being really flexible with some of us that didn't know all the rules, and just making everything happen. And so I actually have something for you. This is the one gift we're going to give out today. If you don't mind coming up here, Bruce. This is a highly coveted and actually the last one of the one semester startup t-shirts. And, we handed these out at the Dell Talk and not all of our students got them, and you might get mugged. Hide it, protect yourself, maybe send someone else with it, but we really appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Also, I really like to thank our TAs. We had a lot of support in the class that we went through. Jonathan Spillman, are you here today? Or, I know you're here today. Where are you? Raise your hand, maybe.
Not sure he's here yet.
He's not here. Maybe he's not here. Well, Jonathan Spillman from the management school was our writing TA. Joel Hessness, sitting right here in front of me, from the computer science department. Kyle Cox from Austin Technology Incubator. They very generously loaned him to us as our mentor wrangler. And Jason Nolasco, our esteemed alumni, who was just incredible in helping pull all this together and didn't actually get paid for that. So we really appreciate it. Finally, the last one I want to thank is all of our mentors. We had a number of dozens of mentors from the community who participated in this class. They also didn't get paid. They came in because they were excited about this. They wanted to help out students. They wanted to get involved in other entrepreneurial things. If you were a mentor in the class, would you mind standing up for a minute? Let me just give you guys all a round of applause. Yeah! Woo! All right, great. I've only got a few more comments, and we're going to get right into the pitches. So real quickly, what is one semester startup? So one semester startup, I think if there were some keywords that would bubble up, it's undergraduate. This is for undergrads. There are a number of entrepreneurship programs for graduate students, but we got a lot of feedback that there was not enough for the undergrads. And so this is really focused on undergraduate students. It's multidisciplinary, which means it goes across all the different silos in the school. There are many, many different departments involved in schools. We've got professors from the computer science department, the engineering school, and the management school. And Bob has been working tirelessly to make sure that no matter what school you come from, you can get credit for this class in every different possible way you can imagine. That you can get a writing class that can count for your different requirements other than just electives. So we really tried to make sure that this course was very accessible to many students and that they could manage to fit it into their schedule. And then it's about mentorship, and that was part of the mentors that you saw here today. We do teach things about entrepreneurship, and we give them opportunities to practice the things that they learn. But the biggest value comes from bringing in experienced mentors that can really spend quality time with these students and help them figure out the best thing for them. And some of that's not always available in the textbooks. Some of those are things that you need to get to know somebody and work with one-on-one. Our goal with this class is to gather up all of the undergraduate students that are actually working on startups, that are actually entrepreneurs, and to surround them with support from the university and the community to help them be more successful faster and to help create more great things out of the university. Students in our class recruit others to join their startup, give elevator pitches, communicate with their team on a constant basis, and we're mentored by the local entrepreneurs. They heard from Frank Moss here, who was from Tivoli and the MIT Media Lab, and of course, probably many of you heard just a few weeks ago when Michael Dell came in, one of the most successful UT alumni entrepreneurs. What did they learn? Well, Bob actually had a great 5-point list of what he wanted to make sure they got out of this class. First of all, the first on the list was health. And that was his point that you don't have to treat yourself poorly to be in a startup, to take care of yourself. And we tried to make sure they understood that. But also really giving them practical experience in planning, writing, speaking, and selling. All key traits of really any kind of business. And some things that, particularly for our strong bias towards engineering and computer science students, something that maybe they don't get as much opportunity to do in other places. I'm really fortunate to be the junior professor of these two entrepreneurial legends, one that you've seen and one that you'll see come up here. And I'm so glad that I've been able to take part in this with John Butler and with Bob Metcalf. I wish that you all could see what it's like in the class. Some of you that have seen it have been there to some of them. The students are just so inspired when they get to go talk to Bob or John or others about the things that they're working on. And it's really something special, and we're really very, very lucky to have them here. So, a couple last things. How many students here today are not in class? You gotta raise your hand, not in class. So we got maybe 2 dozen, 3 dozen? It's not too late for you guys to register for this class for the spring. We're going to be doing this again in spring 2012. We're looking for other great student entrepreneurs to participate. Some students from this previous semester will be taking it again, but there's going to be also spots for new companies to join. So we'd love to have you participate. The ideal candidates are undergrads. They're already working on a company. They don't just have an idea, they're about to start. And they're from any school or department. And we'd love to have you apply. So to submit an application, you go to onesemesterstartup.com and click on apply. You can see the short form that you fill out to apply. And then last before the pitches, if you're an experienced entrepreneur, we'd love to get you involved in the class and bring you in as a mentor. We're looking for mentors that will spend about 1 hour a week working with the student teams that they meet. That was what we told all the mentors that came in, and then mentors like Tony and Dan and a bunch of others then signed up for like 4 different teams, and I bet we're spending 5 or 10 hours a week working with them, which we appreciate. But the commitment we're looking for to start is 1 hour a week of meeting with your team and mentoring them on a regular basis. As much in person as you can, but some of that can happen on the phone or other as well. So if that's something you're interested in, you should talk to some of the mentors that you saw here. You can ask them about it tonight. And also go to our website at onesemesterstartup.com to find out more about that. So we're going to go right into our pitches now. As I said, we've got about 2 hours of pitches with the 10 first, then our little halftime show with Bob, and the last 10, and then more time to hang out here. The first one coming up is going to be Nick with Legal Capital.
I'm going to tell you a bit today about a program I wrote that trades the stock market. My partner is Justin Callan. So first, a little bit about me. I have graduating in 3 days. I've been programming since I was about 6 years old. This is a picture of me at 18 months. Here using a 386. Used to write DOS scripts for my games. And I was currently a systems engineer at AppSumo, where I grew the company from 30,000 to over 500,000 emails on a mailing list in the last year alone. My partner is Justin. He has worked at a variety of finance companies interned, and participates in stock picking competitions. So that's a little bit about the team. So let's talk about what the market's been doing. So as you know, volatility is up. What does this mean? It means that while the prices are swinging up and down from day to day, over a longer time horizon, they're staying relatively flat. So the traditional buy and hold strategy isn't returning like it used to. And the reason for this is that fundamentally, who is trading the market is changing. So algorithmic trading is taking over. It now accounts for nearly 3/4 of all shares traded by volume. And it's not hard to see why. A computer can analyze much more data than a person can. It can do it faster, and it's not subject to the same emotions a trader would be. So it was with this in mind, the changing market conditions, that I set out to make Beagle Capital. So what I have here is a picture of the HMS Beagle. This is the ship that Darwin sailed on before he wrote On the Origin of Species, which is his treatise on evolution. So why is this important? Well, what we do is an evolutionary search of the strategy space. So this means we look at millions of stock market strategies, and we let natural selection find the ones that make the most money. And so with a method like this, what kind of results does it give? Well, quite good. You can see here in orange is Beagle, red is the Standard & Poor's 500, which is what we're trading currently, and blue here is the volatility index. And so if you were to buy at the beginning of the year, and where would you be now? Or actually this data is from the end of last month. You would be up about 1% buying and holding the Standard & Poor's 500, whereas if you had given your money to us, you'd be up 36. And you can also see that during periods of high volatility, the slope of the equity curve increases quite a bit. And considering how the euro crisis is going, it seems like we'll have high volatility into the future. So this puts us in a very good position. So what are the risks? There's two main kinds of risk. There's the market risk and the execution risk. So the market risk is the risk that we open a trade and then a few days later the prices go against us, or that day. And this is intrinsically minimized by the evolutionary search. That's the whole point of the method, is to get that as small as possible. And then there's execution risk, which is the risk of a server failing or trade doesn't get executed, that kind of stuff. And everything is built loosely coupled and it's very rigorously tested, so we can see things like a server failing and switch to our backup, or we can see bad data coming in and say, that's bad data, let's not trade. So who else is doing this? Well, there's a lot of different companies that are looking into algorithmic trading, and most of the big guys are choosing to go faster rather than to try and do it smarter. And that's where we're different. Rather than trying to pick up 1,000 pennies a second, we're holding over a longer time frame, but we're just making better decisions. So a lot of people want to know, if this works, if you have a machine that prints money, why aren't you using it? And the answer is I am. I closed my savings account and put all the money I had into the market as soon as I trusted this thing. So what's next? Well, we're looking for people to partner with, or if you know of an angel investor or a credit investor that you think would be interested in talking to us, please come talk to me or Justin after the demos are done. That's Beagle Capital. I'm Nick Johnson.
One quick correction. The staging area is on this side, on the other side.
Hi everybody, I am David Brubaker, and I am here to tell you about Dabble. So right now, market is saturated with a plethora of all these different mobile devices. You have MP3 players, e-readers, dumb phones, smartphones, tablets, netbooks, notebooks, laptops. Have all these different form factors within all these different categories. How many of you out here have 2 of these devices? 3? 4? 5? What if you didn't have to have...
I have 3 with me.
Having all these devices, it's annoying having to carry them all around. It's bulky having to find a place to put them. It's cumbersome. You always have this feeling that you forgot something. What if, did I remember all of them today? How much do you spend on all these different devices? Just adds up when there's really not that much different between them when you think about it. They all have processors, memory, connect to the internet, have browsers, run apps, all kind of do the same thing, but they're different sizes. So people are paying all this money for different devices that just are different sizes. Turns out size matters to people. What if you didn't have to pay for all these different devices? What if you just had one device that could be all these sizes at once? What if you didn't have to sacrifice usability for portability? What if you had a tablet? What we have is a device that can change screen size in both X and Y direction independently. It can grow and shrink. It maintains constant pixel density, so you always have a great picture. And it does all the things that your standard smartphone or tablet does. So, as you all know, the tablet marketplace is growing exponentially. So much potential to grow. Apple kind of created this market with the iPad, and it exploded. And so many people are running to buy the next device as it comes out. And so there's this huge potential to grow and to conform all these devices into one. So as of today, we are patent pending with our technology. We have a solution that combines multiple rollable screens into one device to present to the user this expanding singular screen. Right now, we're working on creating our second stage prototype, partnering with a few display companies that have rollable screens, and then hopefully take the Dapple to market and destroy Apple. So, we are Dapple. We are starting raising a seed round right now. If you're interested and would like to know more about the technology, come find me or one of my partners, and let's talk about it.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out. I'm Nick, and I built a really cool web application called Debate Tab with these awesome guys right here, Rohan, Ali, and Nikhil. So, every year in the United States, about 1,000 high schools spend a combined $250,000 on tabulation and registration software for high school debate tournaments. What does that mean? So, I've run the Round Rock High School Debate Tournament for every year, for about the past 6 years now. And we run into a lot of trouble doing this because the software we use that we pay this about $250 for is written in VB6. It's really old and there are a ton of problems with it. It looks like this. There's another piece. It looks like this. This is the market leader. This is terrible for a few reasons. So first is it's notoriously buggy. People in the debate community love to harp on how bad the software is and how, well, you'll be in the tab room, you're shuffling around hundreds of pieces of paper, and you need to get that last ballot entered so you can schedule the next round. A coach is banging down the door asking, why was this debate decided in a certain way? And then you hear, ding, the software crashes. And then that's horrendous. The next problem is that even when it's working 100% correctly, it's still really difficult to use. If two debaters debate the wrong teams, then you have to spend extra time trying to fix the problem. Furthermore, if you make a mistake while trying to fix that problem, it delays the tournament even further. So these 2 points culminate in tournaments that run behind schedule. Well, why is that bad? Turns out everyone at this debate tournament, the hundreds or maybe even thousands of people that are attending, all have a stake in getting out of there early. But unfortunately, in practice, debate tournaments typically run about 2 hours late, 1 hour late. It's bad for everyone involved, which is why we built this. This is Debate Tab. As you can see, it runs in the browser. It's a web application. That means there's no importing, there's no exporting. You're not shuffling data around. Once everyone registers on our website, you hit Run Tournament, you're good to go. So our solution is pretty cool for a few reasons. One, we integrate registration tabulation, as I just mentioned. Next, we streamline everything. You'll notice that we collapse our menus from that complicated hierarchy into a system where you're never more than one level deep in the system, so you can't really get lost, and it's not difficult. Finally, we use new technology. We're bringing debate, I would say, into the future, but we're just trying to bring it up to where technology is right now. We're doing really cool things like text message notifications. The reason why tournaments run late is because people don't get to their rounds. They don't start them. So if we text all the stakeholders, the judges, the coaches, and the debaters themselves, then these rounds get off on time, the tournament keeps on rolling. And next up, the coolest feature of all, electronic ballots. Instead of those hundreds of pieces of paper I mentioned, the judges just enter in the result on their smartphone or the laptop. And since they're all college students anyway, they have these devices with them. They're just browsing Facebook. So we can put these devices to work. And so, well, what's the market like? As I said, about 1,000 high schools running these tournaments. There's a similar college market. It's even larger. And there's kind of an ancillary market of the debaters themselves. There's about 100,000 of them in the United States. And while they're not customers of this product, our target is the debate coaches. They're the people who run the tournaments, and they need the registration, so guest schools can register, and the tabulation, and that handles the day of the tournament, as you're scheduling the rounds and making sure everyone is where they're supposed to be. The students are another huge market that we plan to address after we really master registration and tabulation. So where are we now? Well, we have a really great prototype. In November, we ran the Round Rock High School debate tournament with existing software, so the team could experience the pain. Sorry, guys. And in January, we're going to run the next Round Rock High School tournament using our software. So they are our first customer, which is really cool. So, in conclusion, I'd just like to say thanks to the organizers for putting the class on. It was a chance to build a really cool product, and special thanks to Mark Phillip, our awesome mentor, who is with us every step of the way. We're Debate Tab. We're accelerating academic competition. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out today, you guys. My name is Hassan Marcani. My partner is Jeremy Norte, and we're at Epidemic Games. As you can tell, we're a game company, and we make multiplayer social games for mobile devices, like iPhones and Android phones. Let me tell you a bit about us. We're both computer science majors here at UT. In the past, we've interned at Apple, Intel, and Microsoft. And prior to our current product, we have released a few apps in the App Store that you guys are more than welcome to check out. So, as a company, we believe the demand for mobile games is huge. And this demand is not going to stop growing anytime soon. Which is why we're confident in basing our company around this market. Now let me give you a bit of evidence to support our claim. If you look at the graph all the way on the left side, you'll see that in 2009, 80% of the revenue coming in from portable gaming software came from the Nintendo DS and the Sony PSP. However, if you look at the graph all the way on the right side now, you'll see that it is estimated by the end of this year, 60% of the revenue coming in from portable gaming software will be from iOS and Android devices. That is a huge jump in just a few years. We also noticed that roughly 60% of the users, roughly 60% of the time spent on freemium mobile games, and roughly 65% of the money spent on freemium mobile games comes from someone between the age of 18 and 34. So we decided to target our first game towards this age group. However, we made our game simple enough that people of all ages can enjoy it. So, in terms of competition, we have 4 huge competitors in this space. But we feel that these games aren't enough to handle the demand. And trust us, the demand is there. Words with Friends just by itself has a user base of over 20 million players. And now I'm going to hand you guys over to Jeremy, who's going to talk more about our game. Thank you.
Alright, so now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the game that we spent this semester working on. So the name of our game is called Scramble Your Friends. It's similar to it's like Words with Friends mixed with Bop. So that's a good way to think about it. We currently have a 5-star rating in the App Store out of 31 reviews. And so now I'm going to show you a demo of how it works. And it's in the App Store right now, you can go download it. So, you crashed before. So this is kind of the interface. It's going to be a bit choppy because we had to do it 10 frames per second. So you can kind of search for a friend, and you can also search for any of your friends who have it on Facebook. You can immediately challenge them. So you get a board like this, and you try to make a word with the adjacent letters. So right now I'm going to make a word right here like great. So this is kind of the strategic part of the game. Once you finish making a word, you replace the letters that you just used to make it harder for your opponent to make a word. And so when it goes to their turn, they're going to get that word. And then you send it off. And so right now I'm going to kind of cancel this, so it's fine. Well, anyway, there's also power-ups in the game, like a double word and triple word. And And there's also like a power up to like swap tiles. So if you're trying to make a word, but you have a tile that's on the other side of the board, you can swap it. And so there's also, multipliers that make it interesting. And we also have a couple screens that you're probably not going to be able to see here, but like there's a history screen so you can see how many games you've won, how many games you've lost. There's a store that you can purchase credits in that you use to buy these power-ups, so that's another way we make revenue. And there's also, an account section where you can change your name and that kind of stuff. So how we make money? We use a freemium model, which pretty much means we have a free version and a paid version. And in our free version, we have ads. So we make revenue off of third-party apps and the ads. We also have in-house ads, which advertise our own things within the game, and we also have in-app purchases. So that's another way to make revenue. Our current user base is about 2,500 users. The game's only been out for a week and a half, so we're pretty proud of that. The total games being played amongst those users is around 1,800, so that's pretty good too. Just to give you an idea of the consistency of the players, our player with the most wins has 45 wins and 8 losses. So that guy really loves our game. So where do we go from here? So where we go from here depends on how successful this game is. It's still very early, so we don't really know where that is. It does well. We want to extend this to the Android devices and also the iPad to sort of, take advantage of the success of it. If it doesn't do so well, we have a new idea for a new app that we really like and we really think is going to be really good. Contagion, infect everyone with your virus, coming later. So that's where we want to go. And lastly, we wanted to thank our mentors who were absolutely, we really couldn't have done it without them. And so Jason and Carla, thank you very much.
Hey everyone, thanks for having us tonight. We are Homeroom. My name is Ian Beckham. This is Andy Miller. He's going to chat with you guys in just a second. Also on our team is Dakota Gordon and Alex Weibel. We are a software company that basically works to manage your education online. And there's a big market for this here at UT and elsewhere. Sorry, I'm in somebody else's way, I can tell. There's a huge market. There's a lot of universities across the nation as well as K through 12. And there's a lot of different players in this market, but we here at UT have found some gaps in these different offerings, and we feel like we want to point them out and show you guys what we've been working on. So just to kind of highlight some of the other players in the market, there's people like Blackboard and others that kind of focus on grades and mass email communication. There's also people like MyEDU who kind of work on degree planning and course planning and stuff like that. But we've noticed that there's a gap in that. And what we want to focus on is live communication, week-to-week planning, as well as organizing your classes. And like I said, we're Homeroom. So just to kind of hit this home a little bit more, I have two quick short stories for you guys. The one is a personal anecdote. A few weeks ago, I was studying for my finance midterm, and I'm sitting there late at night, cramming for the exam like any good undergrad does. And I'm thinking, there's a really difficult finance equation. Half my class probably is struggling with the same thing. And I'm like, I wish I could be online chatting with them right now. What if we had the capability to do that? And even better, what if we could chat with our professor the night before the exam? We took a survey. It was a short one, but just quickly, we found that 32 out of 40 students really wanted to have this feature. Another story, just real quick, is actually about Andy. Andy's taking a geology class, and it's a really interesting class. The only issue is that he has to check a lot of different places just to figure out what he has to do week in and week out. This includes checking his email once or twice a week. He also has to check the current software with Blackboard. Some of his professors are frustrated with Blackboard, so they've actually made their own websites, and he has to check those. This leads to him having to download a bunch of documents and PDFs, and that keeps him really busy as well. Basically what we're getting at is it's just a lot of hassle for not a lot of reward. And what we want to do is fix this problem. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Andy, and he's going to talk a little bit more about Homeroom.
Since we don't have a lot of time today, I wanted to focus on 3 core aspects of Homeroom and how they help address some of these issues that Ian was talking about. The first is communication. The vast majority of students that we surveyed said that they rarely, if ever, go to office hours, and which which means that they don't get a chance to talk with their professors outside of class. There's clearly a bridge that we can build here. The second is organization. As Ian was saying, each one of my professors has become professor at Blackboard, and every single one of them has a different way of communicating assignments and announcements to the class, which means it falls on me to check all of these different websites. I have to log into Facebook, my email, and like Ian says, that's the last thing I want to be doing as a busy student. And the last is ease of use, and this kind of ties everything together. The main problem with the current solutions is that while they have all these features, the interface is so hard to use that professors just abandon them completely, and that makes them useless. So to highlight how Homeroom solves these problems, we've actually put together a set of short video screencasts of our application in action. These are our actual working application, not just wireframes. So I'm going to set a couple stories and say how we do it differently. In the first, our teammate Dakota has a calculus homework that he's doing right now, and he doesn't really know the answer to one of the problems. So he logs into Homeroom while his professor is having office hours, and with 2 clicks can see that his professor is online as well. He can then start a class simultaneously with his professor and any other students in his class that are logged in at the same time, and ask his question and get immediate results. Since their conversation is probably relevant to everyone else in his class, their entire chat history is logged and saved to the course homepage so that any of his classmates can go see it later. There's nothing like this currently available to students. The next week, Dakota has a busy week coming up. Okay, the next week. All right. The next week, Dakota knows he has a bunch of assignments due and wants to organize his week, when he should work and when he should schedule to get everything done. When he logs into Homeroom, he's immediately presented with his upcoming assignments that are due in the next 5 days. And as well, he can go to a calendar view and see all of his assignments from all of his classes organized in an easy-to-use layout. He can even subscribe to that calendar with his iPhone or Google Calendar so that he can take his schedule on the go. While Dakota's organizing his schedule, my psychology professor has found 2 new documents that he wants us to read before next week's lecture. Using Homeroom, all he has to do is log in, and with a couple intuitive clicks, he can add them to the course schedule. And so those are the documents. He can add them to the course schedule, modify the lecture description, and he's done. As soon as he does that, it sends an automatic update to all of my classmates and I. And when next time we log in, we're presented with the documents so we can read them and be better prepared for class. And this is all done automatically when the notifications are sent out, however we choose, whether it's by text message, email, or both. As you can see from our demos, we're currently in an alpha stage. We're working with professors and students here on campus to identify the most crucial features that we want to include and perfect our user interface. Out of the 13 professors that we've talked to, all 13 unanimously pledged that they would help us out, and the student response was even more positive for those of you who use Blackboard and know what it's like. We're hoping that by building Blackboard from the ground up with the help of students and professors here on campus, that we can fill the holes left behind by the current solutions and create a truly comprehensive online learning environment. If any of you are interested in becoming a part of the team or have input or want to work with us, let us know. Come find me or Ian after the lecture. Thank you.
My name is Miriam Bullhouse. We have Ryan Jorgensen in FM, Orlando Simon. We are Magic's Isotopes. We are not a web app, but we're making nuclear energy greener. Despite the bad rep nuclear power has gotten recently due to events in Japan, it remains one of the cleanest methods of energy production available. It produces no CO2, no nitrous oxides, no greenhouse gases. Its only emission is steam. There's currently 433 nuclear power plants in 30 countries producing 15% of the world's power. And the industry is growing. 65 reactors are under construction in 14 countries. Nuclear power is generated when a neutron hits a uranium atom and splits it. The split produces byproduct atoms, energy, and more neutrons. Those neutrons hit more uranium atoms, producing more energy, more neutrons, etc. The uranium in a nuclear fuel rod is in pellets. Those pellets are stacked inside a really thin 4-meter tall metal tube called fuel rod cladding. The cladding is sealed into a fuel rod. Fuel rods are stacked into fuel rod assemblies, which are then arrayed around a reactor. In order for a reactor to generate power, the neutrons producing a chain reaction in one fuel rod need to instigate chain reactions in other fuel rods. To do this, those neutrons must be able to pass freely through those thin metal claddings. Currently, zirconium is used for the metal claddings because of all the metals, it allows the most free passage of neutrons. Unfortunately, zirconium isn't perfect. About half of naturally occurring zirconium actually belongs to neutrons. And there is a lot of zirconium in a reactor. All of that zirconium results in a 1.7% energy loss. It doesn't sound like a lot, but over the course of a month or a year, a single reactor can produce $22 million of free energy if you could just take out that bad part of the zirconium. Unfortunately, this hasn't been possible until now. Enter MAGIS, magnetically activated and guided isotope separation. The MAGIS technology was developed here at the University of Texas by Dr. Mark Grayson. The process begins with a raw, unpure chunk of zirconium that's placed in an oven. The oven then vaporizes the metal, and the atoms are incorporated into a stream. The stream encounters a laser, which will selectively magnetize the isotopes you want. In that magnetic gradient, the ones you don't want are diverged out of the stream, and the result is a clean, pure sample at the collection plate. This process results in a highly pure zirconium metal that MAGIS isotopes sells to fuel rod producers, such as Areva, GE Hitachi, and Westinghouse. The producers then incorporate it into fuel rods, which sell these highly pure fuel rods to the power plants. Power plants using these fuel rods produce $22 million of extra revenue per year. With the 433 plants in the world, that's an extra $9.5 billion of extra revenue that's produced for free. So how much of that $9.5 billion does MAGIS isotopes get? I don't know. But we're working on it. Our first cut financial estimates look really good. The cost of producing that highly enriched zirconium versus the value of the zirconium is a really wide window of flexibility. And we're confident that within that profit margin, there's a solution that provides value to every member of that supply chain. So we're saving reactors money. We're making money. But there's also an environmental component. By producing more energy with the same amount of uranium, we're producing less nuclear waste. And we're not the only ones who think this is really cool. People have been trying to do this. Westinghouse and Teledyne have been trying to do this since the early 80s. Unfortunately, they have not succeeded, and we have found a new novel process that is more cost-effective than theirs. There's been one U.S. utility patent filed, and another is in the process. A PCT application was co-filed, and nationalization will follow. We've already secured phase 1 funding from the UT College of Natural Sciences. $400,000 is going towards a proof of concept prototype and process validation. Unfortunately, we have another 3 to 5 years of technical validation before we're ready for phase 2 funding. So put away your checkbooks, not yet, but soon. 2015 or so, we'll be looking for phase 2 funding of $4 million for optimization and scalability studies. Shortly after that, a phase 3 of $16 million will produce a facility that's capable of meeting the high output needs of the nuclear industry. For MAGIS isotopes, we're working hard today to solve yesterday's problems tomorrow.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm Raj Mistry, and I'm CEO and co-founder of Mogu, where we are focusing on a events, discovery, and scheduling social network. We're really trying to make the things that you normally do on a daily basis easier. And so that's why we say, let's make it happen. So what's the problem? Well, the problem around events is pretty clear, and so we kind of divide it into 2 categories. Kind of discovery. It's disorganized. It's hard to find out what's going on just around you. just figuring out the logistics of things going on. It's not syncing to your calendar system because it's somewhere online disorganized, and it's impossible to do on the go. You need to be doing research, you need to be sitting at a computer at home. But that's just one piece of the discovery aspect. The second aspect is scheduling, and that's the hardest thing. Just organizing the logistics for this event must have been one of the hardest things to do. I know that specifically from just the emails I've been getting from Jason. But I think more importantly, there's no main platform. Everyone's working on something different. One person's using their iCalendar, one person's using Outlook, one person's using their Google Calendar, and it's extremely time consuming. We found out when people are scheduling things, they're calling other people. And the main thing they're doing is they're calling people and they're checking their schedules. That's all they're doing. They're checking their schedules and they're calling and relating that information. So we want to get rid of that whole process. We want to make it so that I can check someone else's schedule without having to deal with them at all. And so kind of to explain how that kind of works is, we wanted to deal with all the different ways that people schedule things now, how they discover things now. There's a myriad of ways. There's a productivity sense. And in the productivity sense, you kind of have things like Google Calendar, your iCalendar. There's also social. There's Facebook, Twitter, things going on around you. And then there's also mobile. People just sending out emails, text messages. I want to combine that all in one platform. So instead of me working on one platform and sending it out on another, I want to be on one platform, Mogu, where everyone's schedule is up, where I don't know exactly what you're doing, but I know when you're free. So instead of calling 10 people to set up a dinner, I can just find out when those 10 people are free for dinner and send out that event accordingly. And it's much easier. And I can try to explain the logistics, how an application like that would look like, but I think it'd be much easier if I just showed you a few of the screenshots of what we're working on. So we kind of went over exactly kind of what the application looks like, what we're kind of working on. Well, how do we make money, right? That's what everyone here on this side is about. How do we make money? Well, there's three main monetization opportunities. The first is pretty intuitive, data, right? I have really pure data on who you kind of are as a person. Facebook kind of paints a picture of who you are with your profile. But if I have your calendar information, and even if I'm not looking at it as a human being, just purely off of, just logical algorithms, there's very prime data. Well, second and the third are what I really want to delve into, and that's partnerships. Events cost money. There's partnerships available. And the third is services, and that's the biggest piece. Well, the first that we want to delve into is partnerships. So events cost money. So I find out what's going on around me in my application. Very popular events in my area, I find out there's a concert going on. I want to invite my friends to it. Well, we've got to buy tickets to it. So our application is leading people to buy tickets. We want to be a part of that transaction. We want to be partnered in that transaction. There's very high potential for commissions coming in from those transactions. But if we're not making commissions off that transaction, we want to be making that transaction. We want to be a distribution channel for events that want to have a higher margin when they're selling, because these big players are taking a huge cut from the actual venues. And then the third is sponsored events. So say South By's on our system. Obviously it's a very popular event, but South By's got money and they want to make sure that their event is much more visible to people on our network. Well, they can pay a nominal fee to make it more visible, to have it advertised internally. And so there's a lot of potential there. And then the last concept, and the one that we're most proud about, is services. So you've got, let's fast forward a year from now. You've got a lot of people scheduling on this platform, whether they're using their iPhone, whether they're using a web-based platform, whether they're using Android device. And you see that they're scheduling their lives. Well, why not schedule services? So I want to set up my haircut for 5 o'clock, 5:30. So that's just kind of something intuitive that I would do. I would say after work I want to get my haircut. Well, the system recognizes that I'm free at 2:30. And that's great because the small business that I'm going to, the Great Clips I'm going to, wants me in the door at 2:30 because they have plenty of customers coming in after work at 5:30. That's when they're understaffed. That's when they're busy. But when there's no one walking in the door, when the lights are on, when the stylists are there, they're losing money. And that's when they want people in. So the system understands I'm free at 2:30. The Great Clips wants me in at 2:30, so I get a 15% discount for moving my appointment from 5:30 to 2:30. And so there's a key takeaways that are really great from this, is that the user is scheduling their lives without moving into something that's more complicated. It's actually making it more convenient for them. It's exactly where they are in the first place. The business gets 3 key benefits. First is that they get a great appointment scheduling system.
They have repeat customers because you're only having 10-15% discount versus 50% discount. They're going to the places they normally would. And the third is you're flattening out the demand cycle. Instead of having people coming in before work, during their lunch break and after work, you're coming in at hours that are off-peak, which is great for the business. This is preferable to Groupon and Living Social because national chains would be more likely to adopt this model because we're not giving away 50% discounts. We're only giving away very nominal discounts. And so there's a lot less issues with that. And because of that, we feel there's a huge monetization opportunity. With all of this, like we said, we're just trying to make the things that people are already doing easier. And so let's make this happen. And anyone else who's interested in helping make it happen, please come talk to us afterwards. Thank you.
And I'm here with Frost, Louis, Tina, and Michael, and we are Planda Events. This is Christian. Christian's a student at the University of Texas studying computer science. Christian considers himself quite the intellectual, and he has a number of interests that don't necessarily align with his major. Christian loves playing the guitar, he loves photography, and he really likes to work out. The problem, however, is that Christian only ever manages to hear about events that are affiliated with the computer science department at the University of Texas. Having to switch between Facebook, GroupMe, LinkedIn, Blackboard, and a dozen of other applications just to hear what's happening on campus is exhausting. There's so much going on within these 40 acres, yet without some sort of comprehensive directory that details on-campus events, Christian still manages to miss every lecture, every film series, and every event that he actually wants to attend. The current solution to this problem is called No Events, and I'm sure you've all heard about it. Christian signs up for No Events, and this is exactly what his email looks like. He gets an email like this in his inbox once a day. These emails are completely unformatted. They're organized only by date, not specifically by major, by organization, or by event. And lastly, every single one of these emails that he receives every day is at least 4 pages long. Christian just simply doesn't have the time to look through one of these emails every day and hope that he'll come across an event that he finds intellectually stimulating. So we know that this is a problem for people like Christian, but is this a problem for everyone? We surveyed 100 students, and 100% of them said that UT does not do a good job letting students know about events that are happening on campus. 63% of them said that they felt overwhelmed by the number of events that are going on, and 71% of them said that they use an organized alternative to no events. So now let's watch Christian use the website. Okay, Christian logs on to Planda Events, the solution to his problem, and he logs in with his username, and then he types up his password. He logs on, and on his home screen, he sees 3 events that have to do with computer science. Because, like I said earlier, Christian doesn't necessarily want to look at CS events anymore. He goes and looks at different categories to pick something else to do. He clicks on Arts and Humanities. Here he sees a photography exhibit, a German club photography exhibit, and an acoustic guitar plan. He clicks on the photography exhibit where he sees the time, the location, and the date, and then he can rate it positive or negative. And based on this, Planda just learns what types of events he wants to attend. He can click attending the event, and there he can see his calendar. It adds the event automatically to his calendar, and he can look at it by month, by week, or by day. So, how does something like Planda scale? In 3 ways. First, we plan on internally and exclusively promoting the application. Second, invite-only access. And third, selective partnering with organizations at UT. Let's look at these 3 things in more detail. First, with the exclusive actions, we're going to look at honors programs specifically. We've already spoken to the liberal arts honors, the business honors, and the Plan 2 programs, and we're going to exclusively roll out Planta at these specific programs. This gives us access to 1,000 students before we even launch. We've had students and advisors in these honors programs agree to promote our application to their students. Second, through invite-only access, we can allow users to recommend the events to their friends through email, forcing their friends to log on to Planta. And third, insofar as we're providing free advertising to organizations and allowing these organizations to advertise their events towards their target market, they have huge incentive to promote Planta. This gives us access to 1,100 organizations before we even launch the application. Our long-term expansion plan is to expand from the University of Texas to different colleges within Texas, and lastly, we want to gain 2% of the national large public universities in America. Let's look at our revenue model. We make money through 1, affiliate marketing campaigns, and 2, advertising. Based on our projections and looking at ad-based revenue alone, if we reach our goal of 1,000 daily users and 2% of national universities, Planta can make $1.3 million in just our first year. Thank you all for being here today, and again, we are Planta Events. We are like Pandora, but for events.
Good evening. Is this on? Okay. Good evening. My name is Michael May. I'm co-founder of PowerSmart Labs, and we're going to save you 20% on server power. So millions of dollars are wasted every year because people forget to turn off light bulbs. A similar problem exists in data centers, where underutilized servers are left completely powered on, not doing anything. So data centers, the main problem with data centers is the amount of power and the cost that it takes to operate them. Over 100 billion kilowatt hours of electricity are used every year by data centers. This is 2% of total US electricity usage. 2% sounds like a small number. In reality, it's equal to $10 billion. The data center operating costs are categorized into 3 main groups: hardware costs, costs for cooling servers, and costs for server electricity. Data centers spend more than $500 on electricity per server per year. Over time, this is data centers' biggest cost for operating. If you look at Facebook, for instance, they're using over 100,000 servers. Their electric bill is more than $50 million a year. PowerSmart Labs' solution to save data centers on energy costs is to offer a software product that's like a virtual robot for a data center. Our product observes and learns from the cluster and intelligently powers on and off underutilized servers. Our intelligent algorithms can save data centers 15 to 30% in power consumption. As I said, my name is Michael May. I'm a computer engineering student here at UT, and I have experience in distributed system software and web apps with Ruby on Rails. Mohit Taneja is my co-founder, and he has experience with computer architecture, data center management, and server administration. He's also a senior computer engineer at the University of Texas. There are a number of companies that are trying to have their own products in this energy-saving software market. One of them is VMware. They offer a product that's an add-on to vSphere called Dynamic Power Manager. They charge thousands of dollars per server in licensing fees for this product. There's another competitor called Miserware. They offer a product called Granola. We set ourselves apart from these competitors by intelligently predicting cluster load, not limiting ourselves to one platform such as VMware, and also completely powering off the server that's underutilized. All right, this is going to be a short demo. This is our front-end reporting tool. As you see, it shows status, load, and power usage for the cluster. We're currently running a script that generates load on the cluster. If we kill that script, then you'll see the load on the cluster decrease, And our backend notices that, and it will respond by powering down servers and consolidating the current load onto fewer servers. What's happening here? Yeah, so if we start to load back up, and so if we start generating more load on cluster, so this shows a power physically powering back up, a server physically powering back up after we started the script to generate more load. And then our reporting tool will show that. But the idea was that the reporting tool, so the servers power up and power down with load, and our product balances that. And so final screen, all servers back on after more load has been generated and load is balanced on the cluster. So when considering pricing schemes for our product, we decided to go with a value-based revenue model. So after an initial trial period, where data centers will be able to clearly see how much energy they're saving, we'll charge them a licensing fee of $40 per server per year. The data center will see savings in electricity of $100 to $150 per server per year. Our ideal customer for this product is a data center running 100 to 2,000 servers. For us, with our pricing scheme, that generates $4,000 to $80,000 in revenue for us. There are thousands of data centers that run this number of servers, which gives us a huge potential market. But software is only the beginning. We feel that we can increase power efficiency even more in data centers by integrating hardware and software together. We plan to utilize ARM-based processors to do this in the future. So in the near future, we plan to have a beta out in early January and also have a pilot customer that we can work closely with to optimize our software. And then a few months down the road, in April, May of 2012, we plan to start designing our power-efficient ARM-based hardware. We are PowerSmart Labs, and we're going to save you 20% on data center integration costs. Thank you.
Poor quality data costs U.S. businesses $600 billion per year, and current solutions cannot scale to meet these needs. Hi, I'm Dwayne Spurgeon, CEO of Predictable Data. We are on a path to solve this better than any other company in the world. In the last 3 weeks, we've built a prospect database of over 2,500 businesses and acquired our first customers, a restaurant in Round Rock, a kite retailer in Cedar Park, and a cable manufacturer in Hong Kong. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about the problem we're solving, why this is a great market to invest in, and why we are well positioned as a startup and worthy of your investment. So let's now take a look at a typical customer database you might see. If you're a human reading it, it has everything you need, name, address, and telephone number. But the instant you try to use it in an automated process, it fails miserably. All of the highlighted data represents data that's either missing, misplaced, or wrongly formatted. But just after a few minutes with predictable data, you'll notice that gender is predicted for most of the records, the names are properly capitalized, zip code and addresses are now correctly formatted, and there's only one phone number per column. This is data that's usable for both humans and machines. You might think that this is a small problem, but it's not. For example, Overstock.com has 25% errors in forms filled on their website. And within 6 months, they had to spend $83,000 just in costs for rerouting packages. Once they implemented a data quality solution, they have now saved over $1 million. In 2010, Businesses spent nearly $1 billion trying to improve the quality of their data. Yet, there is still a $600 billion problem. We must ask, why is this true? First, the problem right now is already huge. Businesses spend months, sometimes even years, trying to figure out which software will help them grow their business. But they spent far too little time thinking about the data that drives these solutions. Furthermore, this problem grows. You just have to note the amount of data that's being captured, stored, and communicated, and we can all agree that this problem is just going to grow. But not only that, it's ongoing. Just one example, 40 million Americans move every year. This means for businesses that store US addresses, the quality of their data naturally decays 17% annually. So obviously, this problem still exists, and there's no killer approach. It's a problem that's huge, ongoing, and pervasive. So it's a problem worth addressing. And many companies have. Companies like IBM, companies like Melissa Data, companies like Oracle. Their solution to this problem, though, involves software, IT experts, or consultants. And this is an approach that is not scalable. But here's one that is. Our approach is to develop a self-service user interface designed for non-technical users, combined with our pricing strategy of only charging users for data we fix or find. If there is no data fixed or found, there should be no charge. And if I haven't described to you the size and urgency of this problem, then consider this. Recently, Michael Dell was here, and he was asked, what's the next big thing? And here's what he said. We agree. I'm Dwayne Smurden with Predictable Data. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Halftime. We'd like you not to wander away, especially since I'm about to talk. But why don't you all just stand up and stretch for a minute as a halftime relaxation exercise.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that was the question. Because he started off as a data paragraph. Yeah, sure.
Don't let them go too far. You never get them back.
Attention. All sit down again, please.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hello, attention. Hello, attention. Thank you. I love that shushing sound. That works. So Joshua thought it might be some comic relief if I did the pitch for my company, my former company, 3Com Corporation. And it's a bit awkward because I don't have any PowerPoints. And the reason I don't have any PowerPoints is that when I did this plan, it was 8 years before PowerPoint was founded. In fact, I was on the board of the company that that developed PowerPoint, and we sold it to Microsoft in 1987 for $14 million. So 3Com's business plan is in my hand here. And it's about 25 pages of text that was typed on a Selectric typewriter, followed by about 50 pages of VisiCalc printouts. And this constituted the the pitch. Now the short pitch was the company name. Just said 3Com, Computer Communication Compatibility. Or no, to use the modern parlance, we're a 3Com. Computer Communication Compatibility. I never said that. But what we did say was that we had 3 standards. Compatibility was our goal, and we were going to implement 3 standards and offer them to computer companies around the world who would eventually need these standards. And I say eventually because these 3 standards I'm about to mention were not standards at the time. So for example, Unix was an internal development. It was about 10 years old, 12 years old from AT&T. Then there was a network protocol called TCP/IP that was quite new. It would take 10 more years for it to be installed on the internet where it is today. And then there was Ethernet. And Ethernet was sort of our claim to fame because the team at 3Com had invented it. So our pitch was we're going to implement those 3 standards and sell them to other computer companies who will certainly need them. Our first product was a book. So as we began the fundraising, I wrote a book. And it consisted of Xerox copies of product literature of companies that I thought looked like local computer networking companies, because there were no local computer networking companies at the time. So I had this book and I had a stack of them in the foyer and equipped our receptionist with a Visa machine. And the venture capitalists started coming through and they hated the pitch that you're now hearing. But before I let them out, I got them to buy a copy of this book. So we sold, it was $250 a copy. And the VCs would come in, they say, that's a really great presentation, you'll hear from us immediately. We really like you a lot. And I would say, well, would you like to buy this book? And I would sell a book every single time. Our second product was the first commercial implementation of TCP/IP for Unix. Our second product was a 10 megabit per second hardware device. I know hardware is kind of out of style now, but we sold a 10 megabit per second modem. And then we developed a product called some Ethernet adapters for mini computers. One for the VAX. You all remember the VAX? No one remembers the VAX. And the PDP-11. And the reason we did it for mini computers, Ethernet had been invented for personal computers, of which there weren't any. But there were mini computers, so that was our go-to-market strategy. And then we did another Ethernet adapter. By the way, the first Ethernet adapter I sold for $5,000. And that was in my pitch. It's right here in the sell them for $5,000. And we anticipated there would be some price erosion. Ethernet adapters are now virtually free. But they started out at $5,000. But here's a small digression. Our next Ethernet adapter was the multi-bus Ethernet, and the ME as we called it. And it was adopted by a company called Sun Microsystems that was just getting started, and they needed Ethernet adapters, and we became their supplier. And very soon we were selling hundreds every month, hundreds of them. And then we had a strategy moment. Our sales force said, we're selling so many of these MEs, it's time to do a new one that's cheaper and faster. And it would of course be called the ME2, or the Me2. Now, if you've been to business school, you know you're not supposed to develop Me2 products. So on that basis alone, we abandoned that project. That is, we did not do an upgrade for Sun, which was buying heavily. And instead we designed a new computer called the IBM Personal Computer and offered the first Ethernet for that. And very soon we were shipping millions per month. And this is referred to as being in the vortex or the tornado, and I recommend it highly. Anyway, that is sort of the technical side of 3Com. The other pitches are initially we were going to sell direct. So people with PCs, we were going to call on them and sell them cards to connect their PCs together. And this is a really bad idea. So the next thing, we lucked out and they invented computer stores. So our next step was to put our product in computer stores so that people could buy our network cards while they were buying their PC, not afterwards. And then business took off. So anyway, that is a short summary of the proposition that people saw in the early 80s. This company had $5.7 billion of revenue in 1999. Well, everybody had $5.7 billion of revenue in 1999. And then last year, after 30 years of independent operation, became part of the Hewlett-Packard Company. Does anyone have any questions about that summary of the pitch? That's roughly the reaction I got when I gave this pitch.
We'll get back to you.
How many frogs did you kiss before you got your first money?
The question had to do with how many frogs did I kiss before I got our first money. So, many. So I began 2 years before needing to fundraise, and I picked up a copy of the Directory of the Western Association of Venture Capitalists. And then during this 2 years, I just called them one by one and said, I'm an inventor, poor me, I want to start a company, do you have any advice? And I did that for 2 years. Then the Ethernet standard was announced, and then I hit them with this business plan, spiral bound. So I would sit with them and go through it page by page like this. We didn't have PowerPoint. I mentioned that we didn't have PowerPoint. And so I would say 100 kissing frogs. And it was a very ugly process, and I empathize. I've been a venture capitalist for the last 10 years, and I do empathize with those of you who hate them. So we're going to resume these more modern pitches right now, unless there's some other questions, by the way. Any other questions? Yes?
What would you do differently now?
The question was, what would I do differently?
Yeah.
Not one single thing would I do differently. It's very dangerous to mess with the past. I am a financially independent professor at the University of Texas, and I would not change one thing about that outcome. It all worked out perfectly. Let's not mess with it. Are we almost ready to resume? Are we almost ready? I'd like to again thank our sponsors. You can never do that enough. I'd like to thank the Kauffman Foundation. As you know, the Foundation of Entrepreneurship, and they just jumped at the chance to help us out here tonight, and we're very grateful. Capital Factory, Josh Baer is Capital Factory, and as he pointed out, this course benefits very much from the experiences they've had at that accelerator here in town. And then there's Austin Ventures, which is the venture capital firm in Austin. Is that I'm new in town. I don't know. Was that true?
There's more than one.
25 years old. There's more than one, and I'm about to mention two more. A 25-year-old firm with $3.9 billion under management, doing both early stage and growth equity. Then there's S3 Ventures, early stage, a company of entrepreneurs. Then there's G51 Capital Management, Rudy Garza, the super angel, that is his Twitter handle. Then there's the Cockrell School Center for Lifelong Engineering Education, who's helped us pull all this together. And finally, the chair, the Murchison Chair of Free Enterprise, which I am proud to occupy. Are we ready yet for the next batch of 10?
Ready.
We are ready. Thank you very much for coming. Let's go.
Hi everyone, my name is Tony Mattia and I am at the Purple Site, and we are a new way to look at political news. Before I begin, I'd like to thank all of my team members for all of their hard work this semester. My team members include Brian Selling, Kate Shear, Thomas Pelly, who isn't here, and Taylor Adams. I'd also like to thank all of our mentors who donated their time to help us succeed. Now, I'm going to grab this if you don't mind. Okay, now I'm going to begin by taking you back to the start of the semester. Going into one semester startup, purplesite.com was a news website where readers could go to get a full spectrum of news. We took all of the day's political headlines and matched up the left perspective of an article with the right perspective of an article. Think of it as seeing Fox News and CNN on the same page. Now, as we began to brainstorm features and ways to market the site and to validate a need for this idea, we started to reach out to people who we thought could provide some insight. We talked to campaign managers, former White House interns, and political research analysts to see how they consume news. And ultimately what we found is that they have a real problem with aggregation. The conventional methods are either old and out of date, cluttered and unorganized, or full of irrelevant information. Now, as you can imagine, this process can be very tiring and time-consuming. People who are involved in political research really struggle because they spend so much time organizing and collecting data that they don't have time to focus on the more important high-value stuff, like analysis and strategic input. And that can be a problem because politicians rely on their expertise to perform well in front of the media at town hall meetings and in front of presidential debates. Now, we found this problem to be so interesting and so important that we decided to change course. My team, after a lot of hard work, has put together a solution that will change this model. Using innovative data collection techniques and the flexibility of a browser plugin, we are now able to offer a personalized solution for politicians and research analysts to see information in a whole new way. Now, this is, I'll explain this in a quick demo. Let me see if I can get this started. Here we go. So here I have my here we go. So here I have a web browser open. I'm going to go to New York Times. And so here are a bunch of articles that are full of a variety of issues that all look the same. So how do I know which one to read? Well, with the click of a button and enabling PurpleSite and refreshing the page, now when I click over an article and hover over it, I'm instantly going to see valuable information about that article, like who wrote the article. I'll be able to save it to read later. And I'll also see how popular that article is by seeing comments. And I can also see a bias score of that author based on our rankings. Now, what kind of impact will this solution have? Well, it will allow researchers to be more efficient with their time, increase productivity, which will lead to better data analysis and hopefully more votes. Now, because this will save politicians and researchers so much time, we feel we can offer this service at a premium. And this is a very lucrative solution considering that billions of dollars are spent on state, midterm, and federal elections. But we feel that this is a solution that is both scalable and replicable. We envision PurpleSite being used by entertainers, by military personnel looking to analyze intelligence internally, and perhaps even disease control. Right now, we're testing out our product privately with 4 users, but we plan to ramp up adoption as we move forward to the next presidential election. If you're interested, please feel free to contact me at tony@purplesite.com. Thank you for your time.
Good evening.
My name is Willie Vega, and this is one of the co-founders, Rashika Sharma, and we're from Relant, a style tool for men. We're trying to improve shopping for men. So if you go to Macy's website right now, and you search for a t-shirt, you'll find a nice looking t-shirt. What you won't find is a tie or pants that matches that t-shirt. You'll be able to see these two things side by side. So how can you tell if they look good together? At Relant, you can browse through many different websites and look at many different items of clothes. You can put them together and decide if they look good together. So for instance, I can choose a shirt at Macy's and a tie at Express and put them together and decide. Or I can send that out to my friends and family and get their feedback. But you're probably wondering why Relant is for men and not for women. Well, here's Rashika to discuss contextual marketing.
Well, men have suffered enough. Men, you have been underserved and underappreciated in the fashion community. There's just not enough tools for you to go out, explore, and discover yourself. Well, men's retail amounted to $51 billion and men's e-tail amounted to $3 billion in the 12 months ending in December 2009. So Relant is deliberately targeting an audience that does shop and does buy, but is not oversaturated and overmarketed. These are some well-known styling websites. Most of them cater to women and some to men, but all of them use the same tactics to sell their clothes. From our primary research, we know that men shop differently from women. So we've used this insight to create an easy-to-use tool that streamlines the shopping experience for men. We've also narrowed our demographic to 18 to 25-year-old men. We're familiar with this demographic. These men are just finished grade school and they're starting a new era in their life. What do they wear to their job interviews? How do they impress their first dates? How do they mature and improve their wardrobe to create a look that follows their setting? Relant is here to help them every step of the way. Relant, this is how we're doing it. This is our homepage. The first thing you'll notice is how easily you can browse through the top looks from created and rated by the community. Hello? Created and rated by the community. Created and rated by the community. But you can experience Relant. You can experience Relant without having to create a you can experience Relant without having to sign up or create an outfit. Now let's select one of these outfits. You can view the entire outfit with with details from each component and conveniently see the entire the total price. You can online shoppers greatly use comments and feedback. Greatly use comments and feedback to get to decide whether or not they're going to purchase an item or not. So Relant provides for 3 different types of feedback: text, image of someone who wore an outfit, and suggestions. Suggestions allow for users to add an additional item, such as a hat or a watch, or they can propose a different item for a possible for existing item. This is the outfit builder. This currently has thousands of different brands from department stores, from online, or name brands, and so now a user can seamlessly mix and match different items and create outfits from their choosing. Now let's say I need some help. I found these wonderful shirt and wonderful shoes, but I don't know what else will go with it. I can actually share the existing outfit to all my friends, and they can help me complete this item. We're really excited about all the things that Relant will do, and 2012 will be a great year for Relant. Let us talk about the vision for Relant.
So right now today, if you go to Relant.com, you can sign up to be one of the first beta users. On December 15th, we'll be sending invites. In 1 month, and January 15th, we'll be launching Relant 1.0, and we'll be marketing here on campus. In April, we'll be doing our first round of funding. So in March, we'll continue to market, and we'll be doing this during South by Southwest. and we'll be doing an extensive street marketing campaign, handing out swag. Then we'll be doing a fundraising. And we're going to be fundraising for Relant 2.0, and we're going to be developing, and we're also going to be marketing towards other campuses and other events like music festivals to get our name out. And then, right back in time for back to school, we're going to be launching Relant 2.0. So none of this would be possible without our wonderful teammates and mentors. We have a dedicated team of all seniors, computer scientists, and engineers. We also have wonderful mentors who have helped us every step of the way. If you have any questions about upcoming features or funding, please feel free to contact anyone from our team.
So we hope that you've seen the vision of Relant and how passionate we are about this company. Currently, we are not looking to raise any money. However, we would love for you to go right now to Relant.com and sign up to be one of the first pioneers in our vision to changing social online shopping for men. We want you to be confident about what you are wearing even before you step out the door. We want you to use Relant, the ultimate styling tool for men. Thank you.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me? I think I'm on. Okay, my name is Danny, and I'm with RepTracker. So to start off, I'm going to talk about a problem that we all have. We're fat. Well, maybe not all of us in Austin, certainly not Austin at least, but as Americans in general, we can all stand to lose a little weight or to get in shape. So let's assume we're trying to do that. We may be, working out, doing push-ups, sit-ups, lifting weights, toning exercises, whatever you call it. You have a few problems. How do you keep yourself on schedule, keep yourself motivated, and just keep yourself excited to be getting to the gym every day? Well, if you're like my parents, you could take a spreadsheet into the gym and record your activities. But this is a lot of work. You have to plan your workouts ahead of time, and at the end of the day, you're just left with a bunch of pieces of paper littering your house or your office, wherever you keep them. So you could ditch the pen and paper and hire a personal trainer, except for one thing. Money. Personal trainers cost between $60 and $80 an hour, kind of entry-level cost there. And I have nothing against personal trainers, but I couldn't even afford to work out for 1 hour a week. So if you're smart, you can get a smartphone app to do all the hard work for you. It could probably tell you what to do, maybe even how to do it. But at the end of the day, you're still stuck entering all of your data on your tiny little smartphone screen with your sweaty hands. Now, your workout is being interrupted by a smartphone app that's not really that smart. So how is RepTracker going to solve those problems? Well, there are 3 ways. RepTracker automatically recognizes and catalogs the activities that you complete both in and out of the gym. RepTracker also keeps you motivated by helping you understand your personal fitness and progress within the context of your fitness as well as the fitness of the other users of RepTracker. And finally, RepTracker works with you to create new workouts and set new goals based on your past workout performance. So to help you understand exactly how this works, here are a few screenshots from our app. So you walk into the gym, strap the phone onto your arm, and simply start working out. RepTracker automatically recognizes the activity that you're doing and increments its rep counter in real time. Now, after you finish an exercise, you get a little information, but the real value is in the information that you can look at outside of the gym. So the next day, you go back and you look. You can view your data by week, by month, or by day. You can also be motivated by achievements, so landmark results like the maximum number of reps you've done over time, the most consecutive days that you've worked out. These can all be used as motivators, as well as statistical and percentile benchmarks with the entire RepTracker user base. So let's be honest, there's a lot of competition. There are 9,000 fitness-based smartphone apps in the iOS App Store alone. Many of these apps, like Nike Plus, Runkeeper, Austin Zone, MapMyFitness, utilize GPS tracking in order to help you improve your cardiovascular fitness. Others, like Gain Fitness or Fleetly, are just polished libraries of exercises that you can complete. Finally, big industry players like Garmin and Nike, Jawbone, have recently released hardware devices that are paired with smartphone offerings as well. But none of these can intelligently monitor your workout progress, and none can help you plan new workouts based on your exertion, the intensity, and the results of your previous workouts. So we also think that by being different and by being excellent, we stand to make some money in this industry. So here's our plan. This conservative financial model is based on a freemium smartphone app that we will be distributing for free for tracking push-ups and sit-ups. There will be a monthly fee for the subscription into the full portfolio of exercises that we supply. We're also looking at some upsell for different co-branding opportunities, and of course we'll utilize advertising to maximize revenues on all of our online components. So these numbers may look small, we're bootstrapping right now, but we have a plan. On January 1st, 2012, we will launch this freemium app. And so we will always coincide with Personal Fitness's biggest day, the day of New Year's resolutions. So after the initial launch of the push-up and sit-up tracker, we'll continuously add new exercises and activities into our recognition capabilities. We hope to launch the subscription service about midway through next year. At the end of next year, we'd like to have our workout planning fully implemented within our app and to fully round out our platform. We're looking for strategic partners, and we think there's definitely progress to be made. So to kind of summarize, we are 4 dedicated student entrepreneurs. We're all engineers. We're all fitness buffs, and at least one of us is in shape. We also have 3 great mentors, Kevin, Laura, and Andrew. Thank you so much for all the work that you've done with us this semester. And so to summarize, we are RepTracker, and we want to simplify personal fitness. If you'd like to talk to us, we'll be around afterwards. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ram Desai with RPM Mobile Apps, named after our 3 co-founders, and we are B2B business developing digital membership cards. So every day, I usually have to carry around 6 different cards to go around town, and sometimes even more. There are some cards we definitely have to carry, such as my student ID, my driver's license, my health insurance cards, and some credit cards. There are definitely some cards we shouldn't have to carry, and those are the membership cards, because the only useful thing they have on them is simply just a barcode. So what we plan to do is build a mobile application that has the barcode on it. So this is the first section. We also plan to have another tabs on the applications, which like the schedule of events and training sessions being offered by the gyms. On the third tab, we'll have a news feed where the gym owner can show different events and broadcast promotions. So we're planning to focus our initial target market for gyms because those are the biggest market where they're using membership cards with the barcodes on them. So as you can see, there are 2 sides here. On one side, we have the gym owners who we initially contact, and on the other side, we have the users, which are the gym members who will eventually use the applications. Now, in our business model, there are 2 of them we are considering. In the first business model, we would have a negotiated amount added on to the membership, and in the early phase, we would have a portion split between ourselves and the gym owner. There's the second business model we may also consider, where we would have a monthly flat rate applied to the gym owners. So for example, if we had 10 different gym businesses with a revenue of $200, there would be a revenue of around $36,000 in first year. So in terms of competition, on one side, you have apps like CardStar, who have a collection of different barcodes in them. However, oftentimes they don't work well with the local gyms because they are not verified properly with the scanners. On the other side, you have the apps for national organizations like Gold's Gym. However, they don't have the features of digital barcodes on them. So what we plan to do is have the combinations of the 2, where you have the digital barcodes on them and also have other features which would be useful for the gym owners and also the gym members. So in order to make this project happen, on our team we have Raul, who is a senior in computer science, myself, who I'm a senior in electrical engineering, and Manish, who is a junior in business program. We also like to thank Dan Graham for mentoring us throughout the semester, who is the CEO of LuluSign.com. Now I'm excited to say that we had our first pilot customer within the first few weeks of the semester. who is running Commerce South Oxnard Gym. We have been developing the application for them and we'll be releasing the application in next 2 weeks. Now after the pilot customer, we'll be expanding to the other organizations, gym organizations throughout Austin, and there are about 100 different health clubs in the greater Austin area. Finally, afterwards, we'll be looking to expand to other cities throughout the United States, and there are about 17,000 health clubs in the United States alone. Now, this idea can not only apply to health clubs, we can also expand to essentially other businesses who use barcodes for member verification. So you have your loyalty membership cards and your rewards programs. So with that, your RPM mobile apps, and we are going to be coming developing digital membership cards. Thank you.
All right, can everyone hear me? Yes? Yep. Okay. All right, so my name is Mike Miller. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Second Snake, health IT company. My co-founders are Aiden Point, who's our back-end engineer, and Carlos Gregg, who's our front-end engineer. So all of our backgrounds are in technology. We're all computer scientists. And so how did we get started doing a healthcare company? Well, my dad's a doctor, so he would tell me about all the things that went wrong in his practice, his private practice. And there were such simple things that were wrong. Like when he submitted the claim to an insurance company, he had no way to check whether it actually was received or not. So we started looking at the healthcare space, and originally we were doing insurance claim reimbursement software, but we realized that market was too crowded. We pivoted a couple times to what we're doing today. So I'm really happy to share with you what we're up to. So I want to begin by sharing with you a revolutionary insight. I'm sure none of you have ever had this before. The US healthcare industry is screwed up. I know this is completely surprising to everyone in the audience. Let me elaborate on a couple of statistics that illustrate just how screwed up it is. So this plot here is healthcare as a percentage of GDP. This is through 2004 for several industrialized countries. The US is at the top. Obviously not a big surprise. The US is, as of this past year, spending around 17% of its GDP on healthcare. This type of growth is unsustainable for the economy. It just can't keep going on. And furthermore, there is no reason for it. Other countries with healthcare systems of similar quality to ours don't have this kind of healthcare growth. So another interesting statistic, a study in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2003 found patients get recommended care less than 55% of the time. Think about that. You go into a hospital and you're going to get recommended care 55% of the time. This extended across socioeconomic boundaries. This wasn't rich versus poor, this was everyone. The quality of healthcare in the US is not great. And another reason why the cost is so high is because of chronically ill patients. In Medicare's case, 5% of the patients are consuming 40% of the spending. These are the patients who are the problem patients. This is where effort needs to be made to bring costs down. These top 5% of the patients. So the US government obviously recognizes this growth and they're concerned about it with Medicare. So they're introducing a number of reforms to help bring costs down. One of these reforms is known as the patient-centered medical home. So the idea behind a patient-centered medical home is that all of the patient's medical care should be given by one place. So I'd like to illustrate this with a small example with stick figure drawings. So this here is John. John's one of those top 5% of patients, and he has cancer. So he sees a lot of doctors on a regular basis. So he might go see his primary care doctor, his ENT doctor, his oncologist, and every time he sees doctors, he might get blood tests, they might prescribe him new medications, and he has to keep track of what's happening and inform all the doctors of what's going on. The doctors have to manually coordinate between each other, and it's a really tedious process and it's error prone. What if one of John's doctors prescribes him a medication that conflicts with another medication that John's already getting? So the idea behind a patient-centered medical home is to put everything under one roof. So all of John's doctors can get together and coordinate care for him. We see there being a player in this that doesn't exist today, and we call him the coordinator down in the lower left. And we see the coordinator's job as taking responsibility for John's out-of-office needs. So, for example, if one of John's doctors tells John that he needs to come back for a follow-up visit. Well, John has a lot going on in his life. He might not remember that I need to make an appointment with my infectious disease doctor. So we see the coordinator as the person going out and making sure that things doctors want to happen actually do happen. So to that end, we're developing software that helps coordinate care for patients. So we're developing a system which helps the coordinator figure out what needs to be done for patients. So putting up an alert on the coordinator's screen saying, hey, John hasn't come back for a follow-up visit, or John's lab test hasn't come back. And we see that this will help reduce costs because it will help coordinate care and things. John will get his lab test back and won't need to go to the emergency room because the doctor didn't notice something that was wrong with him. So we're Second Snake. That's what we're doing. We'd love to talk with you. And if you need something to talk to us about, you can ask us how we came up with our name. Thanks for your time.
I swore I wouldn't trip over that when I was up here earlier. Everyone still awake? Yeah. All right. So my name is A.G. Springer, and I want to tell you about an exciting new renewable energy company called SolSpot Systems. But before I do that, let me start off with just a quick story about how our company came to be. So when I came to grad school here at UT, I did so because I wanted to work with renewable energy. I'd been living in Phoenix, Arizona for a couple of years, working as a teacher, and living in the desert really drives home how unsustainable our current energy system is. So I came back to school because I really wanted to build something that was going to make a difference with that problem. When I got here, I met Anamle, who's our COO, and he told me about his vision of working in India and making a difference there. Now let me tell you a few things about India today. India is one of the fastest growing countries on the face of the planet. It has 1.2 billion people and 14.4 million electric vehicles on the road. To give you a sense of scale, that's a 9.6% increase over 2010 levels. At the same time it's modernizing though, India has a tremendous shortfall in electricity generation. There are an estimated 400 million people without any access to the electric grid. That is such a staggering figure. Finally, India's got a tremendous solar resource, an average of about 300 sunny days per year and about 200 megawatts of solar radiation per square kilometer. That's a huge resource there. Anam and I quickly realized that a startup company could allow us both to pursue our passions for renewable energy and making a difference in India at the same time. Now I tell you this story not to bore you, but because I really believe that you can't understand what we do until you really understand who we are, because the two are really intricately linked. At SolSpot, we believe that the future is in solar energy. We love solar because it can go places that the electric grid simply can't. We also believe that the electric vehicle is going to be such an important part of that future, that green future. And that's only going to happen if the electric vehicle can draw its electricity from renewable sources. So at SolSpot, we're dedicated to building a new type of charging station for electric vehicles, where the vehicle draws its power from solar rather than from the grid. One of the most exciting things that happened to our company early in its life was we made contact with an electric vehicle manufacturer in India. And we discovered that this manufacturer had the same vision that we did. They want to sell solar charging stations right alongside their electric vehicles. And this is really exciting for us because not only is there someone out there who shares our vision, but they're interested in partnering with SolSpot to provide these charging stations. So let me give you a sense of what we've got in mind here. As you can see, we've got a beautiful covered canopy model. It gives you a lovely shaded place to park your vehicle. On the roof of that canopy is an array of solar panels. That's where you're getting your electricity from. That refrigerator-looking thing, that's a bank of batteries that can be recharged every day. It captures and stores the solar energy so that when you pull up at night and it's dark, you can still recharge your vehicle. Lastly, we've got an AC connection on the back, and that allows you to connect to the grid if there's one nearby for some extra support. Or if you are in the middle of that village in India where there's no grid, you can connect it to a building or charge a cell phone or a bunch of cell phones off that array and provide power to other structures. Now you're probably thinking, well, okay, that's really a pretty picture, but I'd like to see something real. So I'm really pleased to tell you about SolSpot's first prototype. Here it is. Now, wait a sec, that looks like an empty field. Well, it is, but it's not going to stay that way for long. Because this is the spot at the J.J. Pickle Research Campus where we're going to be building our first prototype. As you can see, we've already completed all the designs. They're very similar to the final product we have in mind. And we're going to be breaking ground the moment we get back from winter break. The prototype is going to consist of 6 240-watt Sharp panels. They're going to provide about 6 to 8 kilowatt hours of electricity per day. Now, to give you some sense of scale, that allows you to drive about 35 to 50 miles on that charge. Now, it's not enough to recharge a large US vehicle, but this is also just to demonstrate the viability of the solar charging system. It has a level 2 AC charging interface, so it can support a wide range of vehicles. So if you have a Leaf or a Volt, you can drive it up and we'll be able to give you a charge. It's grid connected for some extra support, but no battery storage yet, and that's again because we're proving the viability of the solar charging interface here. And we're going to be breaking ground on January 4th. We're really excited about that. Looking out a little bit farther, we plan to have the construction completed by the end of February, another month or so for testing. We plan to be demoing this prototype to our Indian partners by the end of the spring. And at the same time, we're going to be hard at work on that next, more advanced prototype that includes the battery storage system. The ultimate goal is to be demoing it by the fall and have our final model in production by the end of 2012. We have a fantastic team making this happen. We're led by a professor in the electrical engineering department. Our team is comprised of current and former UT engineering students. And we've partnered with Julie Howe, who's here tonight, and she is a 20-plus year veteran of the solar industry. She's leading our design team. We also are housed by ATI, and our board is comprised of academic and industry leaders in the field of solar and battery technology. So we are SolSpot Systems. We're building a new type of electric vehicle charger. We're really excited about it, and if you'd like to hear more, please visit our website or come talk to us later this evening. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Brian Bonnet, and I am here on behalf of Stash Studios, where we're making games like Gentlemen. Our first product is called Technedia, and it is going to be a game for PC, Mac, and Linux, but at launch we are going to be focusing mainly on the PC market. And just to clarify, for PC games, I mean games that are going to run on desktops and laptops that are running Windows. So with the advent of social gaming like Farmville on Facebook and also a lot of mobile gaming, a lot of people are sort of declaring that PC gaming is dead, that it's not doing very well, and that just is not worth it. But after a little bit of research, it's actually kind of doing the opposite. It's growing. It's doing better. This is a graph of the percentage of the market that PC games hold over the total game sales per year, and especially in the past 3 years, it's actually been growing pretty steadily. And this year, for pretty much every industry, it's kind of been a rough year, and games included. And it's supposed to actually sell less games than it did last year. But even with that, PC games are supposed to increase this year. So that's pretty cool. And mainly that has to do with this. This is Steam. Think of it as the iTunes App Store for PC gaming. It's pretty much just revitalized the PC gaming market, and it allows developers to distribute their games electronically and get actually a better cut than if they did and they put it into a brick and mortar store. And it allows customers to go around and search for games and find new games, and all in all, it's totally revamped what PC games are. And so you might be thinking, it's cool, you got a cute little increasing line in the store and everything. And, I mean, that's great. But why PC games? Well, at this point, we've completed about a fifth of our game, and we've spent $0. We have spent no money whatsoever. If we tried to do that for console games, we couldn't. we have to spend large chunks of money before we can even see if our game is fun. At this point, we've spent nothing, and we've actually developed a pretty sizable chunk of our game. And so I kind of like to look at what the current console space sort of looks like. And this is another reason why PC gaming is particularly great for startup studios, because as you can see, there are a lot of buff dudes with guns killing other buff dudes with guns. That's pretty much all you got. It's sort of the Michael Bay effect of video games. And while they're really fun, there are a lot of games that look very similar. And for us to compete with that is just not possible. We'd be competing with teams of hundreds of people that are throwing $20 million down on one game for 2 years. We can't do that. We're going to look at a team. It's not going to work. So what do? Well, we do what any great startup does. We innovate. And a lot of startup studios have actually had a lot of success on Steam by not trying to create a really big game, but a really focused and deep game. Something with a really focused mechanic that's just fun. And that's exactly what we plan on doing with our game, Technidia. And I'd like to show you the world premiere of our trailer. And by trailer, I meant slideshow. Sorry about that. So with Technidia, we are taking the simple concept of running an obstacle course, just getting from point A to point B as fast as you can, but while trying to dodge a million things that are trying to kill you. And that's basically what we're trying to do. We're trying to make a game that is fun and innovative and something that people haven't seen before and put it in the best market for innovation, and that's Steam. Thank you very much.
Before I begin, I just wanted to say thanks to my teammates. We got 4 senior computer science majors and 1 from the comm school. You know, we haven't been representing. Alright, so good evening everyone. I'm Jonathan Van from You Think Tank, and we're making student entrepreneurship easier. So it all started when one of our team members was listening to Dr. Metcalf give a keynote speech about how isolated the colleges at UT are, how separate UT is from the city of Austin, and how UT is doing nothing entrepreneurial, obviously contrary to what's going on now. But we wanted to answer that question. We wanted to answer that question for Austin and for cities around the world. And remember, that's Austin, Texas, ranked third out of the top 10 entrepreneurial cities based on Business Insider, and UT Austin, 15th in the world by the Times, have now come together to effectively support student entrepreneurship. Why haven't they joined forces, right? So that's where You Think Tank comes in. You Think Tank, what we do is basically combine the best of Facebook and AngelList, so student entrepreneurs can easily find resources, great ideas, and mentorship for their startup. So we match them according to background, skill, and interests. And then secondly, we connect, by giving them professional help, we connect them to local entrepreneurs who give them mentorship for their startups and ideas. And third and most importantly, we give them one spot online to access all the information for entrepreneurship at UT. And that includes classes like One Semester Start, which hasn't gotten enough attention in my perspective. Clubs and organizations like the Technology Entrepreneurship Society, competitions, and networking events. So here's our first product. We've been working and partnering with IC Squared to develop one website so they can put up all the information regarding anything entrepreneurial. And so our next product is basically competing, not directly, but we're competing with some of the virtual incubators. What we do is bring it all together into one virtual incubator. So you can log on and create a profile. This includes students and professionals. So this is where virtual incubation begins. So this gives you one online space to share ideas, collaborate, form a team, get mentors, and get applications to actually begin the startup process. And so, what makes us different from our competitors is that we are digital, social, and scalable. Our mission is to merge the student entrepreneurial ecosystem with the surrounding ecosystem. And we do this in a unique but repeatable way because every city is different. You're not going to make another Silicon Valley, but you can make a successful ecosystem. So there are 14 million college students today. In a 2011 survey done by the Young Entrepreneurship Council, 15% started a company while they're in college. Even if 1% started adopting Youth Think Tank, then we have the possibility of making a $40 billion impact. Now that's a dream number, but that is our vision. Now, our focus now is not, unlike for-profit incubators that usually take equity stakes, we're taking subscription fees. And so, I mean, let's take $20 a month versus cups of Starbucks coffee. For the cost of a few lattes, you have the opportunity to start your own business in college. And so from here, we're launching the website for IC Squared next month or the month after. And then we'll be attending Dell's Venture Labs, and if we're lucky, get the chance to launch at South by Southwest with the network. And at the end of the day, it only makes sense. I mean, the number of college students the number of people attending college is increasing every year. They're missing the opportunity to start a business at the best time of their lives. We want to give them the tools so that if they can think it, they can do it. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Elvin and I am a co-founder of VisualKite. So when I was in San Francisco this summer, I noticed that some of the coffee shops there had these TV screens that would display things like tweet about us or check in on Foursquare here. And what they were trying to do was build this online buzz for their business. It was a cool idea, but these screens failed to engage me.
They weren't well designed, first of all, and they displayed stale, static content. They had other problems too, and the biggest one was that these boards didn't convince me to tweet or check in at all. Which is bad, right? And so, we thought we could do something better, something that would convince people to tweet and check in and build this online buzz that these businesses want. So we started VisualKite to bring the power of social media into the brick and mortar. We wanted to build a board that was real time. So if you tweet something, you'll see your tweet right away. If you're the mayor on Foursquare, we would proudly proclaim that. With the right incentives, we could get people to tweet and check in and build this online buzz. The businesses can also use these dashboards to do targeted advertising. For example, here I noticed that Paul really loves that cinnamon latte. And since I know cinnamon lattes are high profit items, I could use Paul's testimony to drive, I don't know, let's say a 30-minute sale of cinnamon lattes. Or a real-time Groupon where if 10 people check in within the next 30 minutes, those 10 people get 10% off. So we pitched our idea to local Austin businesses. And when we pitched our idea to Mehul, the owner of Dominican Joe Coffee, he instantly loved the idea and agreed to pay us $100 a month to do a trial run of this. I asked him why he was willing to pay that much. And he told me that he's always wanted this social media presence for his business. But he didn't want to pay some social media guru to do it for him. He wanted his customers to do it for him. He wanted real, authentic growth. So we started coding, and we built a prototype on a Google TV right here that you see on the back. But before we coded, okay, we did code. We built this Google TV on the back. And this is probably my favorite tweet right here. Thank you, Globetrotter86. Hope that went well for you. We tested the board for a day, Dominican Joe Coffee, and we observed how users reacted. After that, we tested the board for a week, and we compared the number of tweets with the board to without the board. As you can see here, standard deviation went up, but the number of tweets per day doubled. So customers were engaging. But we also saw lots of problems. And after a lot of discussion with our mentors, we decided to not pursue this idea after the semester. Why? First, we couldn't figure out a way to scale the business. We would be selling door to door, and even if we charge $100 a month, it would take us 8 months to get back the cost of the TV for one store. We couldn't figure out a way to scale it. But the biggest problem was that the value we produced just was not worth the cost. Mehul agreed to pay us because he thought that our dashboard could build this online buzz for his business. And sure, we saw an increase in user interaction and engagement, but for Mehul, that buzz just wasn't enough. So, what is next for us? Well, as for now, we are laying down our vision for VisualKite. But we know this is a big problem space. I mean, look at Yelp. They essentially use democracy to drive people into brick and mortars. Our fundamental hypothesis was this: good to use social media platforms like Twitter to drive people into brick and mortars. Our solution didn't work out, but that doesn't mean our hypothesis is dead. Here are the 3 co-founders, and we're all going to local startups as software developers. Paul is going to Indeed. I'm currently working at Mass Relevance, and Jason is at HomeAway. We started VisualKite because we wanted to bring the power of social media into the brick and mortar. We built, tested, and concluded. And though VisualKite may be over for now, Paul, Jason, and I are just getting started. Expect to see us around. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. The ushers had to remind me that Z comes after V. I'm sorry about that. All right. So, get this up here. Okay, all right, this is it. Hello everyone, my name is Mark Wise with Zilker Motors. Now, I'd like to start by asking everyone, how many of you considered purchasing a fuel-efficient vehicle last year? A couple of you. Did you know that 61% of Americans considered purchasing a fuel-efficient vehicle last year? However, 36% opted out. Do you know why? Anyone? They said these vehicles were ugly. What's more is that these vehicles weigh between 2.5 to 5,000 pounds, which means it doesn't matter if you hybridize it or put an electric powertrain in. This will result in marginal increases in fuel economy. What if we could build a car, ladies and gentlemen, that got 80 to 100 miles to the gallon using today's technology and 0 to 60 in under 8 seconds? Now, I understand this sounds extremely hard to believe, so I'll get into the details of how the technology works in just a second. But first, we need to understand what this means for us as a solution. It means that you can drive a car that's green and has extremely low carbon footprint without having to worry about the worries that you would normally think about when you're going to buy an electric vehicle, such as battery range and supporting infrastructure, as well as battery replacement costs. So the key takeaway here is we could build a gasoline-powered vehicle that's extremely efficient, fun and sporty to drive, and you get the emotional connection of it being a green vehicle. So this is all good. This sells to the brain and also the heart. But what if it looked like this? What if we could build a car that you actually want to be seen in? So now it has the, as I mentioned, the emotional connection of driving a green vehicle. It looks good and it's fun to drive. But we're selling cars, ladies and gentlemen, not bottles of shampoo. How are we going to do this? There's a lot of federal regulation around the sale of automobiles, including crash testing and EPA emissions testing. So our master plan, I'll let you in on the secret, is to build these vehicles as customer-completed cars. That is, the customer, if you want to buy this vehicle, you can take part in the very last bit of the vehicle assembly. It lasts 20 hours. So if you ever changed your brakes, you can build the Zilker. Now, with the money that we earn selling them as kits, we plan to raise additional funding to then federalize the vehicles to service a much larger market and truly address the problem within the fuel-efficient vehicle market. So it's important to understand how we make money, because building cars requires a lot of capital, at least with the current dealer franchise system that automakers are using. We're moving away from this model. We're moving to a model that Tesla Motors has validated to work in at least 4 states, and they've sold 1,800 vehicles across the U.S. with this model, and that's built to order, ladies and gentlemen. We'll start initially by going on road shows, that is getting the most customers in as few demo vehicles as possible. In the future, we plan to partner with independent retailers, showrooms, and retail chains for a more stable distribution base. Now, these partners are going to want to jump on board with us, because not only will they get foot traffic of customers coming in to see this new vehicle, but they'll also get commissions on vehicles that are sold as a demo out of their parking lot, essentially. But they'll also critically get the service of the vehicle, because unlike an electric car or a hybrid, our vehicle uses components that can be serviced at any automobile facility. So a lot of whiz-bang. Let's talk about actually how this works. So achieving 100 miles per gallon is actually simple physics, ladies and gentlemen. The X Prize proved it. What we've done is completely rethought the way you build an automobile from the start with fuel efficiency in mind, optimizing every component, using lessons from professional motorsport, where low weight makes you fast. Low weight in the overall automobile industry will make you efficient. We've also designed an application-specific transmission that uses an off-the-shelf engine, low displacement engine, that allows the driver to mechanically operate the vehicle at its most efficient point given the vehicle's speed. But this is what we're doing today. This is components that have been proven to work in the automotive sphere today. And this is important because we can't put an unproven technology in the hands of a customer and get them out there. Let's talk about the future. Now that we've designed an application-specific transmission, we're also looking for funding to develop a future engine which will be diesel. Now what this engine will allow us to do is it will be relatively similar in displacement, and it will give us higher and higher fuel efficiency and allow us to break into vehicular markets where weight and aerodynamics are less of a factor, such as the crossover market. So this will make up for some of the factors that we are currently addressing with the original C100 vehicle. Now, this is complicated. Now I have to build the vehicle. I don't know if this will sell. Will it, Mark? Well, we wanted to find that out. So we partnered with a firm out of Dallas called Authentic Response to build a panel of 550 respondents designed to emulate the general population. We took the data from this and we reapplied it to the general population, and we found that as you work your way down the sales funnel, with the very bottom being, I want the Zilker, I want the 100 mile per gallon car that looks good and drives good so bad, I'll assemble it over the course of the weekend in my garage. There's potentially 180,000 interested customers just in that. You add assembly at the factory, which is an experience where you can come in our factory and build the vehicle with us, at least the last bit of it. That number jumps to potentially 270,000. A lot of interest. I mean, who doesn't want the 100 mile per gallon car? But will they pay for it? Will they pay for it at a price that we can make it profitably? And that answer is also yes. 3% of respondents said they'd pay between $55,000 and $60,000 to have the Zilker. 9% said they'd pay between $55,000 and $50,000. And this is exactly where we can make the vehicle profitably at a stable production level. We then partnered with a firm out of California called the Car Lab. Now the Car Lab specifically works with production OEMs to validate production forecasting as well as looking at your customer profile. And now that we know exactly who is going to be attracted to the Zilker Z100, oops, we'll see that. Now that we know exactly who's going to be attracted to the Zilker Z100, we know exactly where to find them. And we've developed a deliberate marketing plan to reach them by leveraging the full free PR and marketing of enthusiast magazines and websites. Now from this, we will generate an informed buzz of prospects who want to try the Zilker. And then we'll go on those road shows I was telling you about. We'll lock in that demand by getting these customers in the car, getting them the ability to try it out, drive the Zilker, see if they like it, place an order consistent with our build-to-order strategy, and maintain operations. So, who are we? I mean, we're trying to build cars. This requires extreme industry experience and a lot of expertise and a lot of courage, I'd say. But we have a team put together second to none. 75 years combined experience in the automotive industry and critical engine and transmission experience, ladies and gentlemen. The right management team, the right product, the right market, the right time. What are we looking for? Well, we've raised $50,000, and with this $50,000, we've been able to get a very significant portion of the vehicle design done. We've also been able to complete the transmission design, as you've seen from the CAD drawings. We're looking for $9 million, but before we get into where we're going to use that $9 million, let's talk about our operating financials. At 80 cars a year, we're cash flow positive. When you look at our overall commercialization strategy, including reinvestments in higher volume tooling and capital expenditures, we break entirely even at 1,080 vehicles. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking for stage 1 and stage 2 investment. Stage 1 investment of approximately $500,000 will allow us to complete the Z100 prototype and secure the pre-orders consistent with our strategy. Stage 2 will allow us to accelerate the development of our diesel engine that I mentioned earlier, which is roughly 3 years out from getting into a vehicle. So if we want the diesel engine and the Z100, we have to start working on them now. Now this initial approximately $1 million, coupled with the sale of the first 3 Z100s, of which we have already sold the first, will give us a 9-month runway. Oops, did I miss that? Okay, stage 1, stage 2. Stage 3, at the end of the 9-month runway, we plan to raise $8 million. Now this $8 million, coupled with the sale of the next 70 vehicles, will allow us to fully federalize the Z100 product to service a much larger market as customer assembly will no longer be required. And this coupled with the sale of the first 70 vehicles, the next 70 will give us a 21-month runway. So ladies and gentlemen, this kind of brings it all together. I know this is a lot to digest. You know, there's dealer franchise litigation, which is thrilling. There's all sorts of stuff. So if you are interested in learning more, be sure to talk to me afterwards. Ladies and gentlemen, what starts at Zilker Motors, what starts at one semester startup, and what starts at the University of Texas at Austin changes the world. Thank you.
I drive an electric car, but I might consider it a Zilker motor because that's what we got. All right, so thank you so much. I've got just a few words in closing, and then we'll let you all mingle and meet the students and eat the rest of the food. First of all, just wanted to remind you, we're teaching this class again next semester, and we need your help finding great student entrepreneurs to apply. We want all the best students that are actually out there working on companies to come take this class, and you need to help them know about it. So if you are working on a company, we want to talk to you. If you know a student, if you work with a student, if you have a friend who is working on a startup, please tell them to go to onesemesterstartup.com so that they can learn about it and apply. Same thing about the mentors. You know, we need more mentors for next semester, and so if you saw what's going on here and you'd like to get involved and you think it'd be fun to help out, we'd really like to talk about that as well. Come talk to me or Bob or John or any of the TAs or any of the other mentors who are here today. And so with that, we will see you next semester at our next demo day, which hopefully will be even bigger and better than today. Let's have one last round of applause for all the teams. And thank you again for coming.